Well, hey, everybody. I'm back here with another KOIN Conversations, and today I've got a special guest with me. We get to talk with Hunter Russell, who is the head pro at the Jumbo's Pickleball in Portland. Solid guy that I've gotten to know over the last few months, too. Hunter, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for the introduction. Appreciate that. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I'm so excited to talk about pickleball because I am such a fan of it too. It's just become an obsession, and I'm sure as a coach and someone who's been in the scene for years, you've just seen the boom of it all over the U.S. So I'm just like curious to pick your brain about pickleball and also what you do now in Portland here at Jumbo's. But first, can you kind of give us a background of your pickleball career and how you got really into the sport?
Yeah, I happened to be in Florida at the time during COVID. Really nothing else to do other than
Yeah.
play pickleball. And I think that was true for a lot of people. People were just looking for an escape to get outside or do anything. And, you know, it ended up being such a fun sport. Just really easy to jump in the court and kind of learn. You kind of hit the ball over the net, and then it comes back and you hit it over the net again. And all of a sudden you're gaming, right? It was super social. Met a lot of people, players, all ages. Everybody seems to be having fun. COVID brought me into the sport, and I just quickly became addicted and was playing probably 8 days a week. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that.
so
That's awesome. I feel like
yeah,
it kind of started like that for a lot of folks. I mean, I didn't start during COVID, but it was, a few years after that. And I grew up in Washington where the sport was bred from it. It was, it started, I think, around Bainbridge Island. But as an elementary school kid, I had some neighbors with a court, and we would play with the wooden paddles, and we would just
in
kind of dink around.
in elementary school.
In
Jeez,
elementary school,
I didn't
yeah.
even know about it until I moved to
I know,
Florida.
right? And it was totally a boom from COVID where folks were just like, yeah, we need something to do outside. I think that's so cool how you discovered it and just played so much. Why do you think the sport is so addicting? Because it's not just you and me, but I've got like my parents and friends' parents coming to the sport, getting active and playing again. It's just such an awesome thing to see.
Yeah, I just think it's just such a like other than the rules being so complicated, it's really easy to kind of jump in and just kind of mechanically it's a smaller court than a tennis court. It's bigger than tennis. The ball's moving not as fast as sorry, I meant bigger than ping pong or table tennis.
Yeah.
The ball's moving, not quite as fast as table tennis or ping pong, and it just seems like people of all ages can kind of play it, and I think that just makes it so much more inclusive, right? My mom has never played a sport really, or at least not that I know of,
Yeah.
and she plays pickleball every day. And there's lots of people just like her, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just fun all around, right?
I
And
know.
generally people are happy playing the sport, right? It's not so competitive that maybe it's just new and people don't really know how it works yet, so no one can tell you how to do it.
Hmm. I think like it's the accessibility, like you said, just how there isn't that much running. Of course, it can get really competitive and it can be exhausting, but it's just an easier sport to get into that doesn't involve so much work and effort. But you get the thrill of hitting a ball back and forth, going and getting that ball, and I just see so many folks obsessed with it now.
Yeah, you're right. I think the thrill of it, or like the potential of being good because it's so easy, is like, kind of what draws you in. I think my first time playing was with my parents, and I was like, oh man, like I think I could be pretty good at this. And then I played people that were probably about my parents' age, and they kicked the crap out of me. And I was just like, okay, all right. I think that was a humbling experience, but it was actually like kind of it made me want to play more, right? Like,
Hmm.
and I was like, okay, I enjoyed the competitiveness and like how much fun they were having, beating up on me. I think that just kind of drew me back in, and that was like really the kickoff of my pickleball career. I just was like, I got to beat these guys, right?
Yeah. Do you have any tennis background or baseball background? Because I do notice a lot of people with those backgrounds really love the sport or even tend to excel in it too.
The tennis players have an exceptional jumping off point. I played a tiny bit when I was a child, so it feels like riding a bike, but
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be desired there. Just if you've played sports in general, you have a pretty good understanding of, situational awareness and things like that that just make you better. Soccer players tend to be pretty good at like kind of how to move up the court and how to move back when the right time to move back, stuff like that, like the strategical element of it. So
Yeah.
baseball, absolutely, hand-eye coordination and like, being able to tell which balls are going out of bounds, right? Because the ball might be traveling so fast that most players just try to hit it, and the ones that are, come from other sports like baseball tend to let those balls go out of bounds, right? So there's lots of different sports that just kind of meld nicely right into pickleball. And
Yeah.
I think if you've played any kind of sport in your life, you probably have no problem walking onto a pickleball court and instantly getting hooked.
I
Hey,
think what
look at
I know, right? I took some
that.
video at the Beaverton's Jumbo, which is such a cool facility. You guys have a space in Portland and Jumbos, but what I love so much about this sport is how competitive adults get. Like being an
Yeah,
adult and
yeah, yeah.
competing again, like I was when I was a kid. I'm so competitive, and I've realized that about my life. So finding this outlet in pickleball, which is not only just fun to do, but also the winning aspect is just what drives me also to enter tournaments and get better.
Yeah, I just it's odd how competitive we can be, right? Like
Hmm.
and but to be honest, it feels like I'm still a kid. Maybe that's why I have this craving to play. It just feels like I never grew up, and I think and it probably feels like that way your whole life. Just because we might look a little older, which, I feel like technology nowadays, we can stay younger longer, but
Yeah.
at least my body doesn't feel that way. But, on the outside, it does.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I honestly think you probably just, most of us are just really kids, kids just
Kids
kind
at
of wanting
heart.
to run around. Yeah, kids at heart. There
I
you go.
know. And I hope that never goes away. And I'm so happy that, there are these places and these sports like pickleball that I found or I guess I refound it about a year ago and started
Mm,
playing super competitively. But now my husband, who is in this video here, not this guy, but the other guy,
yep,
there he
there he is.
is obsessed with pickleball. Apparently, that's a very common thing with couples. You know how, like, the boyfriend, the husband likes to play golf all the time? This is my
Right.
husband with pickleball.
Well, do you guys play together, or you try and keep that part of the relationship
you know,
separate?
we definitely play together. We have taken a couple of breaks because our competitive heads just kind of butt sometimes, but it's really cool to play tournaments with, you know, my husband to like say that I can
Yeah.
play these things with my loved one and my partner. So, yeah, the
Well, I got
competition
a
aspect.
pro tip for everybody out there. If you're playing against a couple, shoot it down the middle. It's called Divorce Alley for a reason. So just try to make them fight.
Yeah, it's so common to have couples fight each other on the court, and I have been there. Okay, I do want to talk about you and your competitive background too, because you entered a couple or a big pro open tournament back in Florida. So can you kind of go over that? I'm so curious to hear more about it.
Yes. So the in Naples, Florida, they have the U.S. Open every year, and it's like the biggest amateur tournament in the world, right? So they do get pros, just not the PPA, right? So a lot of the time, the PPA sign these kind of contracts that say you can only play PPA events, right? So you get like second tier pros or kids on the come up who are like probably going to go pro just after college. Um, and it's just like I think there's 100 plus countries that come from players from all over the world, and you just kind of realize how big the sport is. It's there's talent everywhere. Um, it's huge in Asia and India, and some of the there's always like good players that show up from Peru and other countries, and it just is like it's an incredible tournament. They have 60 courts there, um,
Wow.
and so in and the tournament is large and because there's divisions, there's age brackets, there's skill level brackets as well. So every single skill level from beginner to basically like one below pro has age brackets, and it's just um, it's humbling first off because you realize that maybe you're the best out of your friend group, but then you're playing against the best out of their friend group, and you kind of figure out whether you're decent or not, right? So we're all pretty good, and especially in our minds, we're even better. And then when you get to play somebody who also is just like that, I think you go, okay, well maybe I'm not so good. So what's really cool is that when you do see some of these pros, like guys who are clearly gonna make it, the ball's moving so much faster, and the way they can manipulate the ball with spin, and their hand eye, it just the margin of error is so low for them, and their consistency is so high. It kind of boggles my brain at the stuff they're able to do. Um, but that being said, I did get to play in a pretty high level tournament. We played in two brackets. I played in the open bracket and the 5-0 bracket, which is basically the same thing. Because you just like, if you're going to play a tournament, you might as well sign up for everything you can. And the skill level, once you're past the 5-0, it's basically open season for just extremely talented players. We had a fantastic run in our first bracket. I'm pretty sure it was the open bracket. We made it to the semifinals.
Wow.
Um, we lost to a very good tennis player. I don't think he had to play pickleball against us. Um, but like that's part of the game, is like if you can hit it over the net, you can win, right? So um but and then the next bracket we played was like kind of the last day of the tournament. It runs all week, and I think you just kind of get tired, and a few shots go the wrong way on you, like in a pretty neutral game, and you just kind of you win some, you lose some, right? That's the whole point of playing, right? So even if you think you may have been better than the team, you play out the game, and sometimes the ball rolls over the net, and sometimes it hits the net and doesn't roll over, right? So everybody gets bad breaks, but the fun of playing is kind of seeing where you're at, right? I think the nerves of a tournament are super interesting
Yeah.
too. My teammate was a tennis player, and she says the U.S. Open quote all the time, which is "pressure is a privilege,"
Yeah.
and it's a good way to look at it, right? So you
Yeah.
don't, trying to enjoy the butterflies rather than making it feel like that's kind of, you get so nervous you can't play your game. And I think everybody has that, but I think if you can find a way to enjoy the pressure, that really can help you in the long run.
I think a lot of folks who play pickleball, at least in my world, are just playing recreationally, and maybe even watch some pro pickleball, like the PPA, which is the Pro Pickleball Association. I'm assuming that's what it
Right.
means.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really cool that you're someone that got up to those higher levels instead of just grabbing a group of friends, to play on a Friday at a local facility in their city. Like I think the actual competition at the pro level is so cool, and how it's booming and growing. And people are learning about the sport, learning about the games, and what specifics are happening. And I just feel like I've watched a lot more pickleball or pro pickleball in the last 6 months than any other sport. And just kind of learning the game that way, learning the pro pickleballers' names and following
Yeah.
them. It's super cool to see just the boom in the sport. And I wonder if it will be a sport that makes it into the Olympics, in the next few years or something like that, or how
Wouldn't
much
that be
it grows
interesting?
professionally. So like
Right.
what are your thoughts on pro pickleball and those folks who may not even know it's a pro sport because it is just so new?
Yeah. So it's kind of, it is new. If you go to watch some of these tournaments, you know, it's you're just kind of playing in like a community park that happens to have a lot of courts, and you're kind of just walking right there with the players, right? It's unlike any other professional sport. You can get really up close and personal. You can hear what they're saying on the court. I will say that TV really doesn't do it justice.
Hmm.
The balls, it looks like it kind of moves slow, and you kind of, when you're watching it, you're kind of like wondering, oh, like why don't they just like hit it over each other's heads? Um, because everybody's at the kitchen line and it looks like you can kind of lob it over people. But when you see it in person, it's moving much faster and the ball is really spinning. But I think it hasn't gone anywhere but up since I started playing in terms of the amount of people that play it. Um, the community that I was living in Florida had 8 courts. They put in 6 more. Right next door was the National Pickleball Center. They had 60 courts, and all the courts were full all the time. Right. So here in Portland, we have 8 indoor courts at Jumbo's, and they're full all the time. It's a beautiful facility. Um, just in terms of the PPA, though, you know, it'll be interesting to see if the sport can survive, because it just seems like some of the tournaments you go to, it it can be super popular, and other days it can be like kind of quiet. And if they don't have Ben Johns there or Annalie Waters, I feel like there aren't a lot of like a huge draw, right? Andre Agassi went to the U.S. Open last year, and that was such a big draw, and he played tennis. So some of these guys that get into the sport, you get the right name, and it brings everybody there, right? So, I think some of the younger players coming up, Hayden Patriquin, Gabe Tardio, they probably will have the same draw. It just, I don't know when Ben Johns will actually fall off, right? So
Yeah.
he's only like 24 or something. He probably can go for another 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in a hurry to quit. I know winning can become boring eventually. I think I've never done it
I mean,
that
he's got
long,
what,
so
like 30 or 60 trophies and championships. So,
I probably times 10, right? So I don't,
yeah.
he's been winning for such a long time. Who knows?
I think
Uh,
watching pros too with some of these big names that we just mentioned, it's so interesting seeing a lot of these pros be in the teenage group. They are so young and so
yes.
quick and so fast. I really do feel like maybe similar to some other sports, like I'm a big rock climber too. A lot of those pro names are younger people, and just how maybe because the sport is so new, it does get taken over by the young kids and the up and coming kiddos who start playing at a really young age and then just destroy because their hand-eye coordination is so good, and they just fall in love with the sport and they start playing at such a young age.
Yeah, I mean, if you come in from such a young age, you're just kind of you just like you pick up on people's tendencies so much easier, right? You just kind of there's a few things that maybe a paddle position kind of gives it away, right? Or like a little like head position, and it's just all these things that kind of like you pick up subconsciously. I played with a lot of young kids who were, kind of near the end of high school, early college. And then you go, wow, you're really good at this game. Like, how long you played? And they're like, oh, since I was 12. And I go, wow, I didn't even know about it when
Yeah.
you were 12. And so, one of the kids that was really impressive, all his family were volleyball players, and he's a pickleball player. So he's got that natural, like,
Uh
kind
huh.
of lengthy, tall.
Agility too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I was like, man, you cover 85% of the court. How do you do it? And he said, no, I cover 15% of the court. I just guess right 85% of the time. And I said, wow, that's a good way to look at it. Right. So, and to be fair, when you look at other sports, you know, um, a lot of the pros now are like 18, 19, 20. So I think maybe we're just kind of getting old.
Hmm. Darn it.
It's,
I can never go
yeah,
pro at 33.
exactly. Hey, you never know. There's some guys out there that are like
That's
40 on the
true.
tour, so
Yeah.
we still got hopes. I just
Yeah.
think they probably played tennis their whole lives or something. So unless you're a really quick learner,
Yeah.
um, we got some we got some work to do, right? So,
Yeah.
but
It
I always say sorry to cut you off. I
Oh,
always
go for
say
it.
that it's like it's not the U.S. Open, and none of us are getting paid to do this. Unfortunately, that joke doesn't quite land for me anymore since I played in the U.S. Open, and I do get paid to do this.
Yeah.
But for most of us, we don't, right? So
Yeah,
I
we
think
kind of cap out.
we got to just have fun, and if you keep getting better, that's great, and it'd be nice to be able to play super high level tournaments and still have fun, right? So it's always super admirable when you see guys like Jaume Martinez-Vich, who is just happy go lucky all the time playing in these extremely high level tournaments. He looks like he doesn't have a care in the world, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I want to talk about what you do now for Jumbos, which is you coach and you give lessons. And for everyday folks like me who just want to get better at the game, who are obsessed and want some new tips and techniques, tell us kind of what you do for Jumbos and how you can make that happen.
yeah, absolutely. So I coach mostly in the Portland facility. I'm there 5 days a week, just kind of working with people on all skill levels. Certain people are really quick learners, others take time, and yeah, I think the best thing about a coach is that, or the best thing about people is that everybody kind of learns differently, right? So being able to adapt as a coach, there's me, look at that. So being able to adapt as a coach and kind of make it fun for people is half the battle, right? So um, you kind of like professional golfers have coaches, and you go, well, like, how do you have a coach who is like worse than you in the game, right? And you go, well, clearly the best golfers in the world are using coaches, even though if that coach was just as good as the golfer, he'd be playing on the tour as well. Not to say that I'm worse than my students, but I think there is like a part of you that is constantly learning, and so just as much as I'm coaching, I'm also feel like I'm a student of the game. Um, so I'm constantly trying to adapt and evolve, and coming from Naples, I think I got to work with a lot of people who were tended to be older, and I learned how to, oh, hey, I have a hip replacement. Okay, what do I got to do to help you be the best pickleball you with the thing that you have, right? So um, you constantly you have to adapt, and I think my main takeaway when I'm coaching is that I want people to have fun, right? Just end all be all. It should be fun. You got a chance for usually clinics last an hour. I got about an hour to make it super fun, and make sure you had the best time that you could have had, right? So I think your first experience on a pickleball court, or kind of just on anything, dictates how you feel about that, right? About the game, about that situation. So if your first experience on a pickleball court is fantastic, and it happens to be with me, that I love that. If it happens to be with anybody else, I love that too. But if it's not so fun, then I would encourage you to come out and take a clinic with me, or even just kind of jump around Portland Jumbo's facility, and meet some people that are there to have fun, right? So we have lots of good play as well, but I
Yeah,
just think in general, the main takeaway of this sport, it should be fun,
it should be
and
fun.
you still get to run around and burn some calories and
Yeah.
sweat and
I
laugh
love
and all that stuff.
I love the Jumbo's facility because it's like this really nice office space that was transformed. So
Right, right,
it's
right.
extremely modern and just a beautiful facility. Huge parking lot too.
Oh,
Um,
unbelievable.
Unbelievable
We could
parking.
probably have 60 courts.
Yeah, outside.
Yeah,
Ideas for you guys. But
that's right.
yeah, I think it's awesome, as I mean, speaking for anybody who is new, to just go check it out because you instantly make friends. Because typically you're having fun, maybe at those more starting levels because there's
Yeah.
just so much thrill in just making contact with the ball and hitting it across the
Right,
court.
right.
So I'm curious, what types of people do you normally get wanting lessons with you?
Oh, all sorts, right? So, it ranges from people who have never played a sport to people who are fully addicted, and like they're like, hey, I need to get to the next level, and I'm struggling in certain situations, right? So, sometimes you get celebrities, other times you get household celebrities, right? So, your mom and pops, but um, just I think the main takeaway is that this sport is really fun, and then I've enjoyed my time thoroughly, working working with people, and doing it in a way that I still get to feel like I'm a kid, right? I get to be athletic and run around, and I get to, yell and scream and all sorts of fun stuff in a lighthearted way, right? So
Yeah,
never in a mean way.
we're all just, I guess, adult children loving
Hmm.
running around with hitting balls on a court. It's just so much fun. Is there anything else you want to add? I guess you are the head pro at the Portland Jumbos, and you're always open for lessons.
Yep, it's a cool job title.
Yeah.
It's a fun one to have. I'm always open to lessons. You can find my information on Jumbo's website. Um, Private lessons. I do clinics all the time. I'm there pretty much every day of the week. I jump into some of the games and really try and get to know everybody. So yeah, if you want to come meet me, I'll be there. If you want to get better at pickleball, I'll be there. You want to just ask me a few questions, I'll be there. So you know,
Yeah, give him a ring. We'll have all of your info on our website too. So anybody watching who wants to link up with Hunter, do
yeah.
so. Such a cool guy, and also a good friend now that I've met
Thank
throughout
you so much. I
the last few
appreciate.
months. So
I
thanks
appreciate it.
for chatting with me, and we'll see you out there on the court.
Oh, I look forward to it. See you there.